Hello and welcome. We're looking at the questions and solutions of a reading comprehension exercise from CAT 2024 slot 3. In an earlier video, I had read the passage and I had discussed what is it that we're supposed to take away from the passage after finishing reading it. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the questions and the solutions to them. So let's start off by looking at the first question. Question number 1 asks which one of the following is both a reason for Motai's success as well as a possible threat to that success. We have to go through the options. We know there are 3 reasons for success and 2 reasons for risk. 2 reasons which are risk, 2 reasons that might be a threat. So let's see which of these can be thought of as an intersection between reason for success and reason for risk. So A says it's appeal to the rich. So that is a reason for success. But among the reasons for risk, its appeal to the rich specifically has not been mentioned. But yes, one of the threats is that it appeals to it does not appeal to millennials, and millennials might not buy it after reaching a certain age. So it's less to do with wealth. It's more to do with the age of the people. But yeah, so A can be the correct answer because maybe it is talking about not addressing a larger market. B says government involvement in its business. Now, this has only been given as a threat, as a risk, not in any form a reason for success. Let's say B is not the correct answer. C says it's appeal to the older age group. Now, see, this has been given both as a factor for its success, as well as the fact that millennials, after they become older, might not buy as much Motai as is being bought right now by the current generation, which is old. So maybe C looks more like the correct answer, so I'll hold on to C. D says Chinese love of liquor-filled celebration. So, okay, kind of mentioned in the last paragraph that they do love liquor-filled celebrations, but that's not a reason for risk. And that's not given as a reason for success either. Among the reasons for successes of Motai, D has not been provided as a reason. So D is neither the reason for risk nor is the reason for success. That's why D also we can eliminate. Among A and C, see, I know that the risk factor that they are talking about is millennials. Millennial is an age group that they're talking about. In that last paragraph, they're not talking about purchasing power of millennials. So if I compare A and C, I will realize that age group is present both in threat as well as in success. And that's why C is talking about age group, and C will be more correct than A. Right. So that is why answer will be C. Not a very easy question, especially after you come down to A and C. But I think with a bit of thought, you can get this correct. I won't say it's a difficult question by any measure. Not the easiest of questions, but you can get to the correct answer if you think about it a bit. Coming to question 2, 2 says in the context of the passage, we can infer that to succeed in the liquor industry in China, a marketing firm must consider all of the following factors affecting the Chinese liquor market, except. So which of these is not affecting the Chinese liquor market according to what's been given in the passage? A says competition for winning over the middle class is very stiff. That's been given in the passage, that market is crowded. That's why Motai is actually succeeding because it is appealing to the higher class, the upper class, the rich class. So A cannot be the correct answer because that's been discussed as a feature of the Chinese liquor market. B says there is money to be made from marketing to the middle class. B is kind of contradicting it. And the passage does not specifically say that there is money to be made, but maybe I can infer because if it's a crowded market, then money can be made. So maybe B can be the answer. Maybe B cannot be the correct answer. Let's read C and D to see if there are any more easily eliminatable options. C says government may control the pricing of products. It's true. It's given in the passage that Motai is coming under the government's purview, and government controls its pricing, and that leads to private firms not being able to make business decisions like in a free market. So C is given as a feature of the Chinese liquor market, so C is not the correct answer. And D says there are few competitors to meet the demands of high-end liquor consumers. So one of the reasons for success of Mota is that it is appealing to high-end liquor consumers. It is an expensively priced product, and it's succeeding because not very many products are there in that particular sector, so it does not have too much amount of competition. That's been given in the passage. It says there are few competitors. That's true. There are not many competitors. So maybe marketing firms can keep this in mind and add a new product to the high-end part of the market. So maybe D can be the correct answer. So among all the options, the option that is not given in the passage directly is B, and that's why B is the correct answer. Because whether there is money still to be made from marketing to the middle class or not is not given in the passage. In fact, opposite of that is given in the passage, that the market is too crowded. That's why maybe companies are not being able to make enough money. So overall, maybe there is some money, but then new companies, will they be able to make money? That's not been given in the passage. And actually, we can infer that there is not enough money to be made there. That's why B can be marked as the answer. So again, with a bit of thought, you can get to the correct answer to question number 2. Not very easy, not difficult by any measure. Coming to question 3, in the context of the passage, it is most likely that the author refers to Mohtai's marketing strategy as the unholy trinity. If you remember reading of the passage, we had looked at this at the beginning part of the second to last paragraph, that the author is calling elitism, nationalism, and ageism as the unholy trinity, which has led to Mohtai's success. And he's calling this the unholy trinity because these are not associated with conventional marketing strategies, not associated with what we consider to be good marketing according to Western standards. That's why the author is mentioning these 3 things. So it's about how or what leads to Mohtai's success in terms of who they are marketing to and how they are marketing it. So we're looking for an option that talks about marketing. And if you look at the options, it profits from Chinese nationalist feeling that's a part of the unholy trinity. It exposes a firm to long-term risks. This is not part of the long-term risk, although you can say that the ageism part is exposing it to long-term risk, but the remaining 2 are not. So both A and B are narrow options that only talk about one among the 3 factors that have been mentioned in the passage as the unholy trinity. So A and B will not be the correct answer. Among C and D, both are talking about marketing strategies. But if I ask myself, which is given in the passage, I don't even have to understand the meaning of the term unholy trinity. Which of these is implied in the passage directly? Then I will realize that only C has been implied in the passage directly. So C has to be the correct answer, because the author is never saying that marketing of liquor should not be done, or he is against marketing of liquor. That's never been talked about in the passage. That's why D cannot be the correct answer. So 3, I think, is the easiest of the first 3 questions to solve. Coming to 4 says the phrase would make it an invention to rival gunpowder. This has been, if you remember, talked about in that sentence where the author says that it is also hangover proof. Claims to be hangover proof, rather, claims to be hangover proof, which would make it an invention to rival gunpowder. By the way, China is the country where gunpowder was first manufactured. And from there, it spread to the rest of the world. So, claim to fame of Chinese history, historically, the claim to fame of China has been the invention of gunpowder, one of the biggest contributions that they have made to history. So the author is saying that if this liquor is hangover proof, that will be as good as a gunpowder, because there is no liquor which is hangover proof and people will buy it just because they won't get a hangover because of drinking this liquor. So the author is making a comparison between the fact that if this claim is true, it would be as big as a gunpowder. Only thing that we have to understand here is that comparison is being done between invention of gunpowder and Mothai. And of the options, only one option is a comparison, which is metaphorical. Now, let me explain why the other options cannot be the correct answer. Substantive means saying exactly what something is. So when you're saying something exactly what it is, explaining it, then you're substantiating it. That's what substantive evidence is. That it is an evidence or an example that tells us exactly the point that we're trying to make. Here, it's not the exact point. He's comparing a liquor drink to gunpowder. So 2 different things are being compared. So say A cannot be the correct answer. It is definitely not literal. Right? It is not literally, he's not saying that Mothai will become gunpowder, because literally gunpowder is used for a completely different purpose as compared to Mothai. And that's why C cannot be the correct answer, and it's not synonymical. It's not that they are meaning the same thing. Gunpowder and liquor don't mean the same thing. So it cannot be synonyms of each other. That's why D is not the correct answer. I might not agree that this is a classic sense of a metaphor, because let me explain what a metaphor is. Metaphor is when you compare 2 different things. When you want to explain a particular feature of one subject, which is not easily explicable. So you compare it to something that people can, touch, feel, see, like a physical object that you're very, very familiar with. So here, I would say that both are abstract entities. One is the probable level of impact that Mothai can have if it is proven to be hangover proof, compared to the significance of gunpowder, which is again something which is abstract. We cannot touch or feel how significant gunpowder is. We know how significant it is. It is more like a clarifying comparison. It's more like even a comedic comparison, because the author is making kind of an exaggerated comparison to bring about a comedic effect. In the sense that through the comparison, the author is saying that I don't believe this claim that it is hangover proof, that it will definitely not cause a hangover. And that's why he's saying that if that is true, then it is as big as gunpowder. So it's more like a comedic hyperbole rather than it being a typical metaphor. And that's why I don't agree with B as being the absolute correct answer. It is not exactly a metaphor that the author is drawing. But among the remaining options, we are always trying to figure out which is the most correct answer in reading comprehension exercises. So elimination is important. We can easily eliminate the remaining options is definitely not the correct answer because substantive, literal, synonymical all mean the same thing. That you're saying the exact of what you're trying to imply. Here, two different things are being compared. So two different things being compared, only metaphor has the meaning of that. And that's why B is the correct answer. So this is overall not a very easy exercise, not a very difficult exercise either. Every single question is definitely solvable, but requires a bit of thought process. I think anyone who has gotten 3 out of 4 or more correct has done a great job. If you don't know the meaning of the options in question 4, I can understand even if you get 2 out of 4 correct, because if you don't know the meaning of these words, substantive, metaphorical, synonymical, then of course it's going to be very difficult to get to the correct answer. But if you're practicing this exercise, please underline and note the meanings of such words. You can have questions where such words appear once again in your CAT paper. All right, thank you.